I honestly may not pass a single car at speed.
Pace car pulls into pit road. This race is now in the hands of
Honestly, I'm fine to do that.
Yeah.
Checkers, reggers.
Checkers or reggers.
Yep.
Number 9, let the cars roar as we take the green here at the Red Bull Ring. Rogers, Scioli, green flag is out. The last race of 2024 is on. Scioli gonna have a good launch on the outside, but it's Gavin Rogers getting the push down into turn number 1. Who's gonna have the better push though? As Rogers slides the right. Oh, Scioli also gonna be.
And they're wrecking.
More drivers piling in. It's a madhouse.
I made it.
But up through turn.
Yeah, I'm still behind you. I wouldn't count them chickens yet, buddy.
He's trying to hold back the likes of Zach Hall.
Can't better get a move on it.
It is just going to be a continuation of who can follow who, or will you wheel spin out the exit of the corner. You can see all the different drivers. There's the 51 of Vincent Sora. Lots of time. He's back to 10th place.
Doug helped me turn through the corner there. That was pretty cool.
He just saw his competition wipe themselves out. James Scioli back to 31st position. Now it's Nick Crawford trying to run down the 75 because once Rogers' tires are up in full temps, it's over. I don't know if anyone's going to catch up.
No, I don't think so either, unless they do short pit or I don't know. But all I know is that they got to chase down that 75 that's been dominant on road course racing here, Sam. So we'll have to see how how this all going to play out. But we called it at the beginning. This is going to be interesting. Will they survive that turn 1? And I was really worried about it.
Yeah, they did not survive it. It started up front and it just trickled all the way down. Jared Hughes also a big loser on positioning. He's down 19 spots from where he started. Scioli down 27 after lap number 1 concludes now. Gavin Rogers leads that lap, and here you find the 77 machine. Brandon Colley also having some troubles. It looks like he'll go off course through that 3rd sector. And each lap, we're going to be seeing this track get more and more dirty, dusty, and it's going to be a handful off the exit of these corners when drivers drive back out on track. But Scioli just went from, I got a good chance at this race to how do I salvage a run? Now going to be making that pass and able to take at least one spot back, 27. But this is a long race. Got 40 laps still, 1 pit stop to go before this race is over. And the big factor of the night, incident points. If you go off track, hit the grass, that's 1 incident point. If you go over 15, you have a drive-through penalty. And Robert, I feel like that's the one thing that all these drivers have in their back pocket is, as long as I don't get that drive-through penalty, I've got a good chance for a good race.
Yeah, just keep the car, like you said, in between the white lines. But we'll see if they can do that. As the tires wear down, you start losing grip.
You mean a bumper?
Snap out on you.
Oh.
There's different factors that these guys are going to have to.
I almost sent it in too deep right there too.
Hopefully some guys out there hit a good 15.
Give me some gravel. Help with that.
He's going to do, but if you just hot lapped it there for here and there, that's going to hurt Sam.
It certainly can. As our top 2 trying to pull away from this 57. The Canes machine. Seth Nolka excited to see a debut of some newer drivers who had a chance to get on track, as well as seeing the likes of Chad Wilkes in that Lucky Charms number 6 machine. And Zach Hall, the champion of last season, he's able to be running here tonight and to see a few of the Christmas-themed machines as Nick Crawford as well as Zach Hall and all of the Snowy Desert machines having some Christmas lights on the edges of their cars and a little festive in tonight's run. But Zach Hall, one of those drivers that we've seen in the past, be a strong road course driver, and not a lot was going to be known here tonight because we've seen Zach be strong when we go to unknown tracks, and here tonight he's at least keeping touch to our top 5.
In front of you. On the right.
Oh, reckon.
Get wheel hopping going too.
Oh, we got trouble though.
Sorry, said it.
Out of exit turn 2, Jared Talmadge.
Wow.
Thank you for the call out.
Also, only back 26.
Yeah, that was
I didn't see where it was, but I just knew it was a wreck.
Like himself, Ollie Fonseca getting into one another off the exit of turn 2 as they were heading up through.
Clearing himself.
We're going to see this replay.
Nice.
Still there.
Up the second.
I was about to say I'm inside you, and then I thought about how that sounded.
Watch out for that machine.
Yeah, please, no.
That's what she said.
It wasn't very deep, so.
Yeah, that's what she said.
27. It goes right across the field. Oh, Cody Reed, Ollie Fonseca, and a few others also get involved. That's the 7 of Douglas Newby.
We're talking about those who are side by side. That's a professional race car right there.
Nope. Those definitely has Captain Roger pushed down one of his fastest.
Sorry, turn 1, Josh.
Live here, but yeah, you can see everybody wrapping around there, Sam, and then all of a sudden it just became pinball machines.
James, you got it.
One another.
The chances he overdrives it.
0, 1,
Yeah,
5.
and that's the problem with everyone being so close in times, is everyone's going to be...
Nope, no. He's good.
I overdrove it.
Jared Tallman trying to go for 2 for 1, down into turn number 1, muscling his way on the inside of Andrew Medlin. He with his foot in the throttle, and that was a very gutsy call for Jared Tallman. But I mean, at a racetrack like this, those are one of the 2 to 3.
Okay, Jeff.
If you've got an opportunity, you have to take a chance. Otherwise, you're just going to have to fall and follow the driver in front of you for a whole lap.
He was just way faster than me, so. Little door beating, nothing wrong with that.
What I was going to get back to there really quick, Sam, is
As long as I'm not getting wrecked or punted off the track, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know,
There you go.
them rumble strips, you know, wheel hopping. Will we see a lot of that, you think?
Wheel hopping, I think also seeing the
Oh, the grapples everywhere.
shifts can also help.
Yeah, we get
there.
punished for their mistake.
Yeah, that's maybe the 27 of Jared Tallman. As you can see, the dirt still coming off the tires as he went into the gravel for a quick second, and how far he pulled that along with them. I mean, it's not just directly where you enter back on the racetrack. That was a whole straightaway.
I have a question to ask in the middle of the race. So what did you guys run for steering
It's
ratio?
going to get tougher and tougher each lap.
Whatever the default was for me.
Yeah, I have not made a single change.
Andrew Medlin giving us a great show of that action. I also want to go up to the battle for 3rd place because there are some drivers right on top of one another. Chad Wilkes went for a chance on the inside.
What's the one where you move the steering wheel to least? Is that up or down?
And all will graciously take that spot, but Chad Wilkes went for
I think that's the smaller number. So at the top, I think.
Fighting right back, doesn't want to give away position.
It's been so long since I've done it in the next gen.
This is only lap 5, still plenty of racing left here this evening.
Plenty of racing, and enjoy the show of the road glowing red, because I'm telling you, you can tell when you're on the brakes and off the brakes as you look at them front rotors, and that's only going to get hotter and hotter, ladies and gentlemen, to the point some people might, you know, start getting brake failure a little bit. So we'll have to pay attention to that too. There's just so many circumstances that we got to pay attention to here tonight, as we still see Zach Hall over Chad here, not Lucky Charms machine, trying to set him maybe back up and see if he can get around him, or he might just want to ride right behind him right now and see if he makes a mistake.
Yeah, this is that spot where you're trying to build up, get as close as you can to set up for turn 1. As you're going through these final couple of corners before you hit the front straightaway, see Wilkes with a big slide. This is where Zach needs to capitalize with a good exit out of the final corner. Noel in front gets a little wiggly, but still great recovery, even with the little slides here and there. Notice with the next gen, it's a car where even when you see someone getting sideways, they're able to keep their foot in the throttle at moments and keep that momentum. As we fall back to the battle for 6th place, here is the 11 of John Forbes, Vincent Sora. We got to see the conclusion of their great battle on Monday night for the ISRC Truck Series Championship. It went to the 11 of Forbes. With Vincent Sora, this is time to get a small payback.
One on the outside after turn 1.
By the 11.
Thank you.
Thank you. Setting up for this pass for himself. One driver, though, is backwards. All the way down 26, now 27th, and Samuel Garcia.
Oh, that's one of the front runners, I think. Or mid pack, at least.
Finally finds the clearance to turn back straight, as that was at turn 1, where the 50 machine went to the wrong way and got spun around.
Well, we'll watch the replay here, see exactly what happened with him. I would imagine turn 1 here probably too deep into the turn here, Sam, and the back end might have shifted out on him a little bit. And once it goes, it goes. As we know, once these next gen cars get loose, sometimes they're just hard to. Whoa. Okay, maybe not.
He hit the rumble strip. I think he just got loose and overcorrected and ripped up going the opposite way.
Yeah.
I need to do a replay, maybe an onboard to see what the steering wheel looked like, but that was a bizarre shift for the 50 machine. Again, this is what happened to Samuel Garcia now almost a lap ago at this point. As he goes down into the brakes, you see him shifting down into second. It's the marks, shifts up, and he drove right over the rumble strips, and it just pulled that machine to the left. He did nothing there, really.
Oh, now we know don't run over the rumble strips.
Danger, danger, danger. Rumble strips are bad. Avoid at all costs. This is great notes for us whenever we hit the track, Robert.
Don't hit the rumble strips.
Avoid others when going in the first couple of corners, and then avoid rumble strips as much as possible as well.
I got it, Sam. And I'll probably still hit the rumble strips. Anyways.
Scioli done a great recovery run so far. Again, lap 1, turn 1. Got turned around with Vincent Sora. Vincent Sora only fell back to 5th. Scioli all the way down to 27th was the furthest that he lost in positioning. Now up that 77 to 15. So based off a raw positions gained back, he is one of the highest movers currently. The highest mover from where they qualified is actually Ryan Kelly in the 3 machine. But here's kind of the chaotic zone of drivers in the middle of the pack. As the field, you're seeing dust. They're not even in the dirt. That's dirt that's already placed on the track that they're messing with when they're exiting out of that turn 5, 4, and 5. Just showing how lack of grip there's going to be as this race continues. This dirt, I mean, Robert, it's just going to be one of the more wilder things of going to other road courses as well with this new marbles and dirt effect that iRacing has put in, trying to make things a little bit more realistic. I mean, in real life, if there's too much dirt on track, they would throw a yellow to purposely get the dirt off and back into the sand pit. They can't do that in iRacing, so these drivers are going to have to deal with the system that is just going to progressively get worse and worse each and every lap. And we're not even done with the first quarter of this race.
Yeah, very true, very true. Now, the only thing I can say about that is that with having these many cars, I would assume it would most likely, real life and what we understand, the more they run over it, the more it gets spread out to where you've got like a driving line, like you're driving in the rain, and you got that line where everybody just keeps driving over and over and over. Eventually, all that rubber and dirt and mud is going to get pushed, left to the right, and you're going to have a line until somebody decides not to drive there, and then they're just going to push it right back, you know what I mean, over the line. That was clear.
Yeah, that's what you're hoping for. That would happen. Well, again, we're learning lessons. We'll learn to see if that actually happens in sim, as the majority of the dirt is on that final hard braking zone at turn number 4. So the zone of dirt that we're going to be continuing to watch and see is Danny Cochran as well as Brian McCann. This is the battling for 12th place, trying to catch up to Joshua Kanata, Larry Yingling to get that final bonus point. But right now the 8 machine just taking it easy. As Brian McCann, if ever check out Brian McCann's YouTube channel, has lots of videos of him going karting, having a lot of road course experience, trying to carry that over to sim racing as the 8 machine. And hoping to see that this speed maybe pick up a little bit more as he's racing around a driver who also has
probably let you go into turn 3 there, James.
Experience in road course racing. We've seen him be strong in other series and leagues. As we move around and see some of the other drivers out on track. Robert, I mean, this is so far, I mean, I know we've seen a couple of drivers go off track, but this has been a pretty clean race than I was expecting to see, as Ali Fonseca and Trey Earhart have their own duel back here in 25th place.
Yeah, we talked about it, you talked about it, during qualifying, difference in the pods. Top 10, had their speed, then you got 10 going down to 19. They were in their little pods, so, we were ready to see this, we just wanted to see getting through that first, 1 to 3 laps where the pods and the fast guys get knocked out, like we did, James Scioli, 77 winds up getting on it, and now he's all the way in the back in a pod that, he's faster than, but he's got to work his way through. So, yeah, I mean, once this race got, now we're spread out, I think we're looking pretty good here now. If I were to just ride now, and see what you can come up with.
As this is one of the furthest back groupings of drivers. Again, this is 25th position for the 24th Ali Fonseca, that bright yellow machine. Trevor Earhart, Ryan Ferraro, Jared Cowley, as well as Andrew Medlin, all in this group. And a couple of those drivers up in that pod also dealing with the penalties that forced them in the back. As now looking at some other drivers and the ways that they're attacking on board with the 11 of John Forbes. As as Vincent Sora has been able to make that pass cleanly. Look at that last laps to current laps being placed down. Vincent Sora ran a little bit faster than Zach Hall, Chad Wilkes, and Brian O'Connor in that 57 machine. See this 51, who's only 2.5 seconds back, expected to catch that group ahead probably in the next 2 to 3 laps, which those are some nice bonus points to grab if you're Vincent Sora, who entered tonight 21st in points, had a very rough first 3 races of the season. He's been on a recovery run to be able to point his way into a chance to fight for a championship and make the playoffs. And currently the 51 did a good job trying to fight their way forward, but there's that grip level. Everyone trying to run on the edge, and just there was a lack of anything there once the 11 hit the throttle.
Yeah, well, that he was in the sand that was sitting on the on the track too, so that upset the vehicle.
You just see those little pebbles of dirt just everywhere in here, right next to that sand trap. And whenever one driver goes through, it just makes it worse for everyone. And looks like it's going to force another driver to go off track at some point, and it's a never-ending cycle the field is dealing with currently, as Gavin Rogers still leads the way, now over 2 seconds over Nick Crawford, and this was exactly what we were expecting to see for Rogers. Once the first lap, first turn incident that took out Vincent Sora as well as James Scioli kind of put it in the hands of Gavin Rogers. As long as he does not make any mistakes and gets that 15 incident point drive-through penalty, this 75 is just going to continue to hit his marks and go forward. Nick Crawford, with all the shenanigans that happened in that first lap, he was rewarded with second, and currently is kind of in his own world, as Gavin Rogers ahead by 2 seconds, has Seth Knoll 6 seconds behind. It kind of continues to grow as the 57 as well as the 6 and the 1 fight back and forth. So for Nick Crawford, he's in the same mindset as Gavin Rogers. Just hit your marks and try to keep yourself in between the white lines.
And, I'm looking on the list here, and it looks like Ollie Fonseca
Almost forgot to downshift to first and almost punted him right after I let him by.
That's an incident point. I think it's an
That would have been bad.
issue. And it looks like he is in pit road, and that is going to be one of our first
That would have held me out.
penalties, as Ollie Fonseca, who was battling for 25th position, now is going to be back in 32nd. Also, we have an update for Samuel Garcia, who was caught up in that wreck where he went over the rumble strips that kind of sent him off into the tire wall. He's going to be finding himself calling it an evening early as he's gotten off the server. Another drive-through penalty going to be given to Justin Malarkey now. So Malarkey, who is hoping to keep himself out of trouble, he runs 31st. He has a drive-through penalty. So this, well, I guess we've entered the zone of, if you've been having issues of staying on track, you're in trouble, or you're going to have those incident points, and it's every 15 incident points you grab, you're then going to be having another drive-through. So all these drivers know you have to be careful throughout this whole entire race. Even for those that made contact, they can get multiple incident points given out because of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're, there at the beginning, if you got caught in a wreck, you get a times, 2, you get times 4.
36,
you run off the track just a little bit, you can wind up with, whatever it would be, whatever iRacing would deem and give you. That incident points add up, so I think that's going to be a main topic here tonight. Watching here as we are on lap 12 of 40 already here, Sam, so... eventually we're going to, hopefully we don't see too much, but man, going through there and look at the white smoke that they're pushing out there now on them tires.
Yeah, it is crazy to see the amount of dust that is popping up after turn 4 for these drivers. There's a lot there. And I'm curious if we can hop on board. I know that Chad Wilkes as well as Seth Knoll, they're having their duel for 4th place. But I kind of want to hop on board in 12th place position with where James Scioli is. He's been marching his way forward. Currently has the likes of 16 of Joshua Kanata. I don't know if you have the cockpit view, but this 77, I mean, we want to check out the shifting aspect. These drivers are shifting a lot, down to 3rd through these final couple of corners, but get a sense of what a lap is like in the next shed car here in Austria. Normally in track, these CF1 cars finish a lap within a minute and 20 to a minute and 15 seconds here, sometimes even faster.
At that point in the race where my mind is just flipping out, going different places, and I can't focus.
What a lap is like running on board with the 77 is Scioli.
I'm like, what gear am I supposed
He
to
is
be
making
in?
the march forward. Again, was only back 27 after his spin.
35.863.
Trying to figure out a way to get by Joshua.
Let's try to take turn 1 in first here.
For Scioli here, as our stage will end at the end of lap 15. No yellow flag will be thrown.
Gavin, just let me know where you want me to go.
Getting down to first gear here in turns 3, shifting back up. And I mean, these first couple of corners, Robert, it looks nice and easy. Let's go straight, hit the brake, and now we get into the technical zone where we've seen all the dirt and dust being thrown out on track.
Yeah, now we're just going to have to see how James makes it through here as he's down to right there it is. You can hear the dirt and the dust hitting the car. Oh, he's losing grip in the back end there, Sam. And
why did I let Ollie
track, but,
why the heck did I let you
hear
by?
it as he was throttling up that back end and the rear tires. Just totally
Because you feel
let
sorry
go.
for me.
Yeah, just trying different aspects
No,
of
because I
the
thought you were
this
Gavin.
vehicle. Now, we see that
Well,
77
I'm still a little bit of ways
final,
back.
a little bit of rumble strips, then get prepared for the final 2
I'm
corners,
not
and
Gavin.
just like that, went from being about over a second behind Joshua Kanata, now within a 4/10, and that rear bumper getting bigger and bigger as Kanata losing grip, hitting the rumble strips there on the inside. Got to be careful of those bumps, and just like that, James Scioli marching forward and finding another drive to get by. Trying to get inside of the top 10 and maybe salvage a top 5 finish. We can find some incredible pace here late.
And that would be a lap around the Red Bull ring that we're not used to seeing here. So thank you for that ride along there with James. But yeah, we'll have to see what his game plan is when it comes up to pit stops here too eventually, because we're 15 laps into it. Now, when was stage supposed to be?
Stage is end of lap 15. So yeah, we're coming up to it within the next 2 laps. And then I believe pit stops, he sure was going to split it in half. We're expecting drivers not to take tires, but with the additive of the dirt and debris, I'm curious if maybe that will give an incentive to take tires, or do you just stick with what's working right now? As currently the field is slightly slower than what they were running initially, as Kevin Rogers, usually in the past, you'd see drivers hit their fastest laps and this lead into a run. Right now, Rogers ran about a second slower than his last time. So here's a close grouping of drivers. This is going to be Danny Cocker, Brian McCann, Cedric Hunter. This is 13th, 14th, and 15th, right on top of one another.
Yeah, they're going right on top of each other, Sam. But, you know, going back to the tire thing that you were talking about, I know iRacing did give you no updates, you can correct me if I'm wrong, on the NASCAR side of things of new tires, to new tire model, correct?
Yeah, there was no true update to tire model, but with the new aspect of the dirt, that's an aspect we just don't know if that will change anything.
Right, so, because normally, you know, at road course, you wouldn't change tires. You know, you would just keep what you have on because you go faster on tires. That's a very good question. So we'll have to see what these guys do. But if I was Calvin Rogers, he's got a almost 4-second lead. I don't know. Maybe take 4 tires in it. You know, with his pace and speed that he has. I don't see why not put pressures on there, and you know you're good to go to the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been the dilemma recently of with how long some of these races for road courses have been. Some leagues like have extremely long races. Sometimes it is actually better to take tires early on and then save the, let that set just stay where it's at, keep heat in them, and race on the rest of the race without any worry. But currently right now, starting to see drivers trying to communicate with their leader of when to make some passes. There have been a few lap cars that have gone a lap down. Justin Malarkey, Ben Keeney both have gone a lap down. Next driver in line would be Ollie Fonseca, 16 laps in, and there's that holiday scheme for Gavin Rogers. Haven't really gotten to show him a lot here tonight because he's been so far ahead. But Rogers, there's this competition of Nick Crawford just getting by Ben Keeney in the 98, and getting to see some of the holiday schemes. Gotta say, this is a very nice scheme. I love the fact that they chromed it out with the spec map that they have on this. And 75, green and red and white, just puttering around in a very easy way. I mean, you look at all the other drivers, they look completely out of control. This looks to be one of the more in-control vehicles of the evening.
Yeah, most definitely. And I have to agree with the spec maps and what he did with this paint job. But, I got to give it to Galvin. He comes out with some nice-looking paint schemes. Week in and week out. I love, like you said, you got the red, the white, the green, faded back to a lighter green for Christmas colors. Yeah, I mean, nice looking car.
Extremely nice looking car. Gavin Rogers is officially your stage winner as this race concludes. Continues on. Plenty of great racing action. The battle for third continues as these three drivers just cannot get away from one another. And for Vincent Sora, he might need a pit stop, maybe need some new rubber before he runs down this crew, because he's kind of stalled out. Been about 2 seconds behind this pot of three. It's not been able to close in the gap at all, but with 17 laps in the books, about to be closing to halfway. And for us, we're going to take our first commercial break of the evening. It's been some fun racing action to watch. We've lost now Cody Reed to pit stops. He is now called it an evening with Samuel Garcia, but for us this evening, I want to say thank you so much for joining us for your Wednesday night for the race number 6 at the Red Bull Ring for the WSSR Cup Series. We're going to head side by side so you don't miss a thing. We'll be back with more racing action here in a few.
36.773.
Having to back up my braking a lot. It's like it just all went away.
I haven't gotten that fast yet.
What kind of times are y'all running?
Yeah, and I'm running high 37s, waving at the crowd as I pass.
Is that a 36.7? So
That's my bad. I guess I don't know. I thought you were gonna pick up the throttle. My fault.
36.771.
Sorry, John. All good.
.54.
Doug, on turn 2, inside.
Thank you.
I heard it happen, but you know.
There were so many words I was trying to get out, and the brain was like, "Nope, you're not going to say any of them, buddy."
I was hoping it wasn't you because I saw you two pretty close.
Yeah.
Leap it.
Yep.
Correct it.
You have to watch Campbell Racing to find out. You really can spit some gravel out and mess with some guys now.
I get Gavin behind all this stuff. Skip ahead in a little bit, you know? And make it fair, right?
Yeah.
Couple up, pitting in front of you. Left side. Still there.
Welcome back, ladies and
37.3,
gentlemen, to
89,
racing
clear.
action for the WSSR Cup Series.
Right side.
Race number 6
You're
is
clear.
underway
On the right side.
for the Red Bull Ring. My name is Sam Dyer. With me
Clear.
up in the booth is Robert Moyer Jr., who's also running productions. As this race has gone halfway,
McCann already pit, and he's right behind me.
Still leading the charge, 4 seconds over Nick Crawford, 14 seconds over Seth Knoll, and a continue to 14 seconds.
When you said he needed to go, he took it to heart.
Back to Vincent Sora. We also saw during that commercial break one driver having issues. That was 7 of Douglas Newbigging, who had a big slide. Then a few drivers decided to go into pit road to get service done. We've had Brian McCann top off on fuel. We also had Tom Sinchek top off on fuel. A couple of drivers took 4 tires in fuel. Shane Tarian, Jared Kelly as well, just making their service call is going to be Jared Hughes in the 68. As we've also had a few drivers have drive-through penalties. If you have over 15 incident points, you have to go in for a drive-through. A couple of drivers have unfortunately had to do that, such as Justin Malarkey, Ollie Fonseca, and we've also lost a few drivers. Cody Reed, Samuel Garcia, and a driver who missed the start of the race, missed the first 18 laps of the race. Drew Jua is out on track for the 88. We have no idea what speed he's going to be having, but trying to at least take the positions away of those that have already called it a night. As Jared Hughes and now Shane Tarian both pull it in the pits, and they call it an evening for themselves. So some drivers saying this race
Go inside here.
On your right.
Shockingly, I think it's more of
There. That's
you
good
know what? I
job.
think I'm just going to call it a night, not the race that maybe you wanted to.
Mr. Damn Shift trying to tell him to go.
I mean, it's okay to be having overall. Still have Kevin Rogers up front trying to take the win, but as we're halfway, Robert, I mean, this race certainly has had its ups and downs, but ultimately the one consistent has been Rogers up front.
Well, most definitely Rogers now up to a 5.43 lead here over Nick Crawford, Seth Nolan, 15 seconds behind Chad, Zach Hall, Vincent Soar, they're all 15 to 17 seconds behind. And John Forbes there in the 7th position, 26 seconds behind, and then you got the other Noel, 27 seconds behind. Ryan Kelly and Larry, teammates there. They are, I do believe, teammates running 9th and 10th there, 28 and 29 seconds behind. So, yeah, like you said, Sam, it had its ups and downs, but pit stops are about ready to, really start racking on here with these top front runners here. We'll see. I think they're going to wait and run as long as they can until they see Galvin Rogers finally go in, and then I think you're just going to see a flock of cars, hitting pit road there.
I would agree with you on that. I think it is stretching as far as you can, and then make the hard decision of do you pit for tires or not. As they've been looking at the lap times for some of the drivers. Some have been running very close to their fastest lap. Others have been quite off the pace because the battles they've had is here's one of the battles that really has not stopped since they started all the way back at lap 1. That's Seth Knoll as well as Chad Wilkes going back and forth. Zach Hall has also been a part of this group, and they just continue to fight and see who is going to be the fastest driver of these 3. And still, Chad Wilkes, Seth Knoll, they continue to go back and forth. 57 going wide, trying to stay in touch, but now within a second, and now within a striking distance, the 51 of Vincent Sora, seeing a top 3 finish in his eyes. I think he's going to be the driver to watch out for in this pod that we've been watching. Chad Wilkes able to conquer over Seth for now, but that 51 is just looming in the wings to attack.
Yeah, you know, I'm sitting there, I didn't get to look at stats, but man, that 57 is all over Chad. But I don't recall Chad having a really good run on any road courses that we covered here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. So if that's the case, Sam, good job from him running a track that's pretty technical with these vehicles.
Yeah, pretty technical, and it's a new track for a lot of drivers. And when it's a new track, everyone's got an opportunity to really prove that, you know, I put the more time in, I practiced for this, I knew what I was putting myself into. And for Chad, he's one of those drivers that we've seen be able to put hot laps in, qualify well, and he has proven that he's got some pretty good race pace here tonight. And with the disadvantages to Vincent Sora as well as James Scioli, it's given a chance for this 6, Hitch 7, and the 1 have a better finish than they were expecting to have entering this evening, but they got to be careful because there's some lap traffic ahead with drivers making pit stops. It's now going to make things a little bit more clogged in front as Chad Wilkes pulls away from Seth, but in front of this 6 machine is where he's got to be a little bit more careful.
Got a lap down the car here, but we got to give some credit here too to Vincent Sora. Vincent Sora now has, like you said, he has caught up to these guys here, Sam, and he has not made his pit stop yet, so he's putting pretty good lap times down consistently over and over and over.
He certainly has. Getting within the pressure point of trying to go for some of these passes, been able to get by Zach Hall, now attempting to close in, get by some lap cars.
No problem. Sorry to be in mid-chicane there.
For some drivers, Zach Hall going to be the first of that group of 3 that we've been watching all race long. He'll make his step as a few other drivers, more that have come into pit road recently.
And so I pit like right before the leader got to me, and I came out like in the hornet's nest. 9.1 seconds in.
Getting some fuel in, packing it
Yeah, I've still got
getting back out
kind
on
of
track.
clean track, so I'm just running until I don't.
15 to 16 laps
Which I'm going
to
slower than
go.
everybody right now, so I'm going to be
For the rest of the field,
the chicane.
Yeah.
stretching out further. If some of these drivers might try to save time by taking less fuel than they would, that's another strategy that you can take on gaining a second here or there on some other driver.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a second, half a second behind, why not? You got to gamble, you got to do something. Because right now, the dog of the track right now is Campbell Rogers. He's just showing his way right now, and he's got his way unless he does something majorly to mess this thing up or gets in a lot of traffic, you know, cause something. Other than that, this is his race to lose. Everybody else going back through. Now you're just looking at your competitors that are in front of you, Sam, and saying, okay, what can I do different to maybe hopefully pass or at least catch up to that guy that you're running about the same lap times. You know, as you're talking
You're an
about,
actual
like,
idiot,
Chad
Collie.
and you got Seth, you got Vincent, you know, you got, you know, Zach Hall that was there and made his pit stop. So I'm
Like,
sure
you're
these
a
guys are
letdown.
looking at
Come
the fuel
on.
numbers, talking to the crew chief, saying, okay, what do we got to do, guys, here? Do we take 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires, you know, less gas, you know, things like that. But, you know, they're down to 16 laps to go, so the less gas has got to be the #1 thing now. Now it's all about what do you do with your tires.
Yeah, do you take tires or not? More drivers up front. Vincent Sora now going to be heading into pit road. James, same for John Forbes and James Scioli going to get service done. Vincent Sora, it's fuel only for himself. Doing fuel only for John Forbes. Not seeing any tires going up for the rest of those that have made their pit stops. Looking at James Scioli. Scioli is fuel only. So again, it's those drivers that pitted earlier that decided to take tires, which makes a little bit more sense. Pit sooner, put tires on. You've got the rest of the race to keep them up to their prime state for later in this race. While if you're staying out, as long as you can, you really don't have that time to heat up the tires to where you're putting down fast lap after fast lap qualifying times. And everyone else thinking about fuel just for the rest of this race. We do have one driver, though, with a drive-through penalty, Douglas Newbigging for the 7. He is back in 21st position. Gonna have to do a drive-through for himself as well as a pit stop. So we'll see when Douglas gets that penalty served. He's got Rogers still waiting on when he's gonna go into pit road. Still our top 9 drivers need to make a stop before this race is over. As they continue to race on, it gives us some time and a period to talk about some cool events that are coming up. Again, talked about how tonight is the last broadcast of 2024 for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. It's been a fun year. Crazy to think the year is over. Well, you think a year being done is crazy? Well, why not think of this? January 4th. It is going to be our 4th annual charity race, formerly known as JDRF, the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation. They've now transformed their name over to Breakthrough T1D, and we are still partnering up with that group as fighting a cure, as well as fighting to help families that are dealing with type 1 diabetes for children and adults. And it's great service that we're trying to raise money for. And Robert, it's crazy to think our 4th year doing it is January 4th. And it's just crazy to say, in a few weeks from now.
Yeah, I'm just I'm astounded with the iRacing community and the league's support, you know, of 4 years now doing this, and never thought when we started it that we would be where we're at today with it. So it has to do a lot with the drivers, and, you know, if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do it. So, you know, yeah, 4 years, man, Sam, and, you know, coming up to it, it's going to be our next race here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, our next live event that we have here going into 2025, which is, I don't even know where 2024 went, to be honest with you. But that being said, we have some cool stuff that's going to be happening, you know, with this event coming up that we have here for this, you know, juvenile diabetes stuff. And you got more stuff to talk about there, Sam, with that.
Yeah, crazy to think. The first 3 years, it was strictly just racing. We're broadcasters. We'll talk to people. We'll have fun for 6 hours. That was our first event. When we had it, second year, we had the Daytona 500. We had our own spectacle for that. Last year, another 6-hour endurance race. We were just talking with people. We shattered our record that we had previously. And Robert and I realized, you know what, let's make incentives last season. Robert saying when we initially broke our record, I said, hey, if we beat, you know, $1,500,
what was that?
And not a lot of people interested in donating and incentives in front of people. So this year, we've got even more incentives, and we've got it broken down from $500 up to
I'll be coming in this time.
We've got incentives scattered in between. From 500, we're gonna have the Category 5 esports team. That's Zach Hall, Cedric Hunter, and so many more. They're gonna have their own segment for commentating. If we hit $600 donated,
Did you already pit, right?
I'll be doing different accents.
How were the tires when you came out?
On the broadcast, and
they were fine.
You know, being a lot more relaxed. As
Just
well
like I
as
drove it.
being relaxed. $700 we'll have Vincent Soar, Danny Cochran for a few minutes. They'll be up in the booth.
There's just another
Then
lap.
we'll give at $800 wide open to all drivers that are out on track. We will have an open 10-minute segment where they will be the ones entertaining you for that small duration of time. At $900, we'll have going to be having Christopher Norris. Whatever Norris wants to say for a couple of minutes on the broadcast. And then at $1,000, Zach Hall, once he's in the car, he'll have his own time. Sue beats hockey. Then we also released from $1,000 down to $2,000, where Robert Moyer Jr. will be bringing back Christmas Carol. We hit $1,200. Robert will be having his own Christmas Carol segment. At $1,400, Zach's still trying to figure out what pepper he's going to eat. He's been trying to figure out what's the hottest pepper he can find that he's okay eating. But he's going to eat a hot pepper if we hit that number. At $1,600, you know what? I'll give singing a try. I will bring back singing and songs. I will do a little bit more than I did last year. If we break our former record, which is $1,710, if we go over that record, Robert and Zach will both dye their hair blue. Then, if we hit $1,800, Dr. Seuss. What does that mean? I will be reading a Dr. Seuss book like I'm commentating a race. That is what Dr. Seuss is. And then at $2,000, the ultimate pain. If we hit that number, that will be shocking, impressive. I'm so proud of everyone that's a part of this and watching the charity event race. I will do the one chip challenge. It's an extremely hot chip. It is dangerous. I might have to sign a waiver. I don't know. And well, if we get to that number, I will do that challenge.
And not only that, Sam, we gotta make sure everybody that goes back and watches this stream here or watching it live, it's all gonna be done on camera.
Yeah, we will be on camera, which is something we're going to be testing out. Both myself, Robert, Zach, and a couple of other people will be on camera for that 6-hour event. We have got 6 hours. We've got to figure out how to entertain you, and we certainly will. There also will
Eat
be
my
release
dust.
in the next either
Literally.
tonight or in the upcoming days of live incentives, ways that you, the
Cars
audience
pass over
member,
that. That's so
can
cool.
actually donate a certain amount of money. It's going to be less than $100, but if you donate a certain amount of money, you can influence the race. There's going to be ways to do that. You can mess with us up in the booth. There's ways for that.
Boy.
And if you just want to find a way to make things just engaging and more fun, you got plenty of opportunities once we release those numbers. You know what, Robert, why don't we just
Oh
release
shit, that was loose.
by saying them now? We will be
I think I downshifted too early.
you as the audience members ways to influence the race. At donate $50, we will throw a caution out in the first 5 hours of the race. If you donate $75, you would be able to throw a yellow and EOL some drivers. And then also the last one, the most fun one. If you donate $100, just that alone, you would EOL your own driver that you select and make them do a drive-through. Wild ways you can influence. Those are just some of the ways you can influence the race. We'll have other influences in live donations that you can have once the broadcast again, January 4th, our charity race, or we got more ways that you can be incentive to mess with us. Oh no, in the booth.
I know
You good?
one thing.
Yeah, hit the.
That yellow strip. Yeah.
And I got black flag from somebody, I'd make sure I have $100 put back to black flag them back.
Oh, just imagine just dropping $100 because you're purposely attacking just one team. You know that they're the fastest. They've shown that they're the fastest just to stop them from winning. But that will only be able to happen in the first 4 hours to block flag someone. The final 2 hours, we're letting them race. So get your pain in early.
You'll catch me, I'm sure you will.
Teams, but we are excited for the fun shenanigans that we're going to be having for this upcoming broadcast. But we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves because we are coming up to 10 laps to go in tonight's race. Gavin Rogers still up by almost 6 seconds over Nick Crawford. The battle for third, still hot and heavy, but then we got a new contender for that third place position. It is Vincent Sora, Seth Knoll, as well as Chad Wilkes. They're the drivers on top of one another as Vincent Sora getting by Wilkes, now attempting to get by the 57 and a rebound after falling back to 11. This has been incredible to see, but also impressive. Back in 7th, James Scioli is moved up 20 spots from where he lost, and he's within just 10 seconds to where Vincent Sora is.
Not only that, he is catching Zach Hall, you know, at a pretty good clip. Zach Hall off, and he goes off, and look at all the okay, we're getting down to the end of the race. You can tell these guys are starting to push the car a little bit harder, but again, watch out for that off-track incident point there, Sam. You know, how far can you push these things before, you know, you blow up your own race?
Yeah, you can really throw away a race in an instant so quickly by just going off track 1 or 2 times. And there are ways for us to, you know, we really go into detail of seeing lap times and validated lap times that proves that you went off track and have an issue at a moment. Of those that are inside of our top 6, our top 7, Chad Wilkes has gone off track at least 2 times in this run for the 6 machine. We also seen him make slight contact. I think he's going to get away with it. But there are a few drivers where if they go off track, make too big of a contact, it really can shift their race and force them into a drive-through. And with less than 10 laps to go, that recovery is really going to be tough, if not impossible, to make back up if you have to go to pit road, because you're giving up by going into pit road at least 17, if not 19 seconds by just pulling in.
Pulling in, and it looks like now 35.2 10 laps to go. It looks like turn 2 cleaned up, but we were on Nick Crawford here for a little bit, Sam, and he went off track, and he really threw some dust and dirt back up on the track. I'm not exactly sure what turn that was, but he it was scattered all over the track.
Yeah, that's been a lot around turn 4 to 5, where we see a lot of drivers pulling that dirt onto the track when they go off track and back on. As Vincent Sora, Chad Wilkes, they continue to go back and forth. Also, other close battles that are happening. 13, 14, 15, and 16th place. That's where we're find the likes of Cedric Connor.
Zach, I have a very serious question. Did I punch you in that right?
They're also quite close to one another. starting to space out just ever so slightly. But
No, he
they
isn't.
seem to be closing in very quickly to one another. But it's that madness of, can you keep positioning?
James
With
Kyle,
9
they told me
laps,
I'm a
soon to be
minute.
gonna be with 8 laps to go. Next time Gavin Rogers crosses the line, you've got to hit your marks and keep within the white
No
lines
lies
to keep the position you're in.
Yeah, and you know, and then you get aggressive too.
Well,
Because
I'm not
you're trying to
gonna
pass
listen
the
to-
car in front of you, which then you know could give you off tracks as
Next time I'm ready to
well.
make for a win, I'm not gonna-
Tonight, but right now, I got to give props here. This is a good run from Christopher Norris. You know that he really needed up 15th position. You know he really needed something really good here too.
Yeah, moving up a total of 6 positions from where Norris qualified in 21st. Other big movers,
That's not
Ryan
very
Kelly
nice.
in third,
I only seen 5
up
on
to
mine.
11th place. He's up 8 spots, but the biggest
Trying to
mover
work
from
your
where they
present.
qualified is actually driver in 21st position, Ryan Ferraro, up
I'm a
11
minor.
spots from where he started. Now, if we're basing it off of just raw, fell to the back and had to make as many passes as possible, that would go to James Scioli in the 77 machine, who's up to 7th now, who at one moment was back in 27 when he got spun on turn 1, lap 1. But Ryan Ferraro, based off where he qualified, again, one of the drivers that decided not to put a time in this 10 machine, up 11 positions, which, I mean, if you're Ryan Ferraro, based off how this season's been, you'll take a night like this where you're just trying to salvage as much as you can.
Are you doing that late braking thing there?
Spots with drivers
Or
wanting
the
to
shifting?
This race, and you'll take a 21st position, if not more, if more drivers find themselves there.
I'm not. I was just wondering if it was working out for you.
You can gain another position or 2, 3, 4.
Honestly,
You just
I forgot
never
about
know.
it. I went into autopilot.
Drivers up front, you know, start pushing you too hard, racing against your competitors, and you know, get
Yes.
that off-track limit, man, which is something, you know, I know they're keeping an eye on with their
But they're in
overlays
different
at
practice
iRacing
and,
Joe, or you know,
just during right here.
Mhm.
As he breaks it
Down
up,
in third.
up there, Ryan did a little bit.
Really?
You know, their third-party overlays that you know a lot of these drivers use. They know what their track limit is, and they know how many times they went off and where.
Yeah,
they
I'm
went
second
off
here.
and you know things like that. So we'll
I'm
have to
second in
see
the other.
if
I wasn't
they
even
have
shifting
go,
up to
but
third to come
I
back
wanna
to
go
second.
back to Gavin
I was just letting it hit the
Rogers
chip for a minute.
James,
0.5,
77. Him up being up to 6th position. It's unfortunately what happened at the beginning of the
Right,
race,
this race.
but I think it would have been something to see.
Able. Be this fast.
I was very much excited to see the battle that we could have had with Vincent Sora, James Scioli, Gavin Rogers. I mean, those guys were within a tenth of one another, and if they made one small mistake, maybe it could have given an opportunity to see more close racing action. Kind of was thrown away after that first lap, and it was down to minimizing mistakes for Rogers, which he has done perfectly here this evening. But Vincent Sora is up to 5th. Hasn't really been able to take these positions away. It seems like when he's stuck in traffic, this is where things get a little bit tougher. But also, we're seeing the competition between hot lap, what we call hot lapping, where you're just putting down your fastest lap possible during practice, compared to race pace, where you're trying to be a lot more consistent. A lot of these guys that maybe were a half a second slower than our leaders, they're running only about a tenth or 2 off, much closer in pace than what we saw during practice and qualifying.
Sorry, I was reading something, Sam.
Oh, you're good. It is been a long race. We're looking at a lot of different drivers and where they're being placed currently. Gavin Rogers leads by 6 seconds over Nick Crawford. Here's Brian Noel in the 00 machine. Behind him is John Forbes Jr., Larry Yingling. Drivers don't really talk a lot about Yingling drivers. Yingling as well as Ryan Kelly, 10th and 11th. Not always the strongest road course drivers that we see each and every week, but you'll take a 10th and 11th place finish for the team. And with competition in front of you, you're trying to put a little bit more pressure on them and see if they make any mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't talk much about these guys here tonight, but you know, like Larry, you know, he's consistent, right? He's not a road ringer, but he's the type that if you watch how he's racing here, the car is very settled. He's very consistent, and really that's all he's, you know, that's a Larry drive right there. Just in general, is the way he always has raced and always will race, and he's having a good race here, and he's catching up to, you know, who is this? The 11 year of John Forbes
Right side.
he's trying to catch up to here. So we'll see if he can do
Still
it
there.
with that
Here goes.
beautiful Christmas scheme he's got.
Yeah, I talked about the fact that some
I would
drivers
do that
it's
much
the last
anyway.
race of the year, and so last opportunity to put out a Christmas-themed machine. Like I said, John Ford, probably one of the better schemes.
I didn't think he was going to let me go there for a minute, but he did.
But not you, Brian. You got to do it the hard
Trying to
way.
push this 11 as far up as he
He's a
can.
Campbell racing.
As this John Forbes coming
Stop
off
him.
his championship drive.
Well, he went to the outside, so I was like, cool, he's letting me have it on the corner, and then he like stayed with me long enough for me to question it, you know.
I don't
Yeah,
blame you, bro. Fuck you.
But you came out even, so we're good.
And just having to pull in a race, top 10, you'll take that with a road course that no one's really expecting a lot from anyone. No one really knew what speed we were going to see. I think everyone knew Gavin Rogers was going to be a threat. We didn't know who else was going to be joining with him. But if you're John Forbes, you're really looking at the rest of the season, the rest of the future, coming off of his win back at the Atlanta 08 race. I think John Forbes poised to try to go for a championship in this series and could be one of the 8 drivers, if not more, that have a chance for this championship.
Almost definitely.
I was getting
don't
disconnected
see
for a
no
second.
reason why John Forbes won't be in the talk for the championship as we get closer to the end of the schedule of the season here at WSSR. I do believe that we'll be talking about him and some other really good ones too. But you know what, I really got to give a nice shout out to is the same here with Nick Crawford. I mean, he's out here. They're not even I don't even know what Nick Crawford is. Probably listening to music out here riding around. There's no car been around him all race, Sam.
I would imagine for Nick Crawford, he's in no man's land. He's focusing on hitting his marks, and he is enjoying the absolute panic that the rest of his teammates are dealing with. As for Nick Crawford, parties know he does it racing, and those drivers always have one of the bigger casts of drivers in their own channel. I would imagine they're probably the most vocal because you've got Zach Hull, who's been in the fight all race, Cedric Hunter, who's been in a fight all race, Christopher Norris, who's in the thick of things for himself, Trevor Earhart, who's gone up and down throughout the field, and Brandon Colley, who's just trying to survive a race. I would imagine you've got some voices that are in panic mode, frustration, while Nick's just in La La Land in second place, hitting his marks and staying ahead. And
That was a corner back there. I missed it.
Hey, staying with some drama, probably making a video to put out on his YouTube channel here on So Much Racing. Quite clipping things.
Yeah, I mean, just every once in a while on the straightaways, maybe adjusting some volume stuff here and there.
Yeah, but we're down to 4 laps to go here. It's getting down to the end of here, Sam. And I just want to shout out and thank you everybody for out there, tuning in and watching Freaky Fast, through the year here of 2024. And we can't wait to return, in 2025. Yes, our schedule is going to be changing a little bit in 2025. We are slowing down as, life and things happen.
And I just worked my way to 15 incident points, all 1 point at a time.
Oh, wow.
And we're slowing down, but I can't wait to see what, the next year.
It's amazing. I guess it helps to know where the off track's at, because it's like some corners you barely go over the line, and it's, well, geez, now I'm going to get a penalty for that.
We still are going to finish up Thursdays with the Doghouse Cup Series as they return on the 9th of January. We'll be back covering WSSR.
Most of them were all in that back section there.
But to finish up with Doghouse, we'll be just covering Monday nights and Wednesday nights whenever ISRC Cup Series returns, and continue on with it as far as WSSR decides. And I think giving a little bit more space is going to help us out here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But again, we might be giving out more information in the future. We might just enjoy just having 2 days of live broadcast and great racing. We get to see week in and week out. Update on the race so far, 3 laps left to go. Andrew Medlin given a drive-through penalty for the 12 machine. He's all the way back in 26th position. It looks like actually it was a speeding penalty.
Ooh, it's getting loose.
Into pit roads. That's a 42nd pole. That is worse than a drive-through. You hate to see that for the 12. Again, who runs in 26th position. A lot of racing still left here tonight, but Gavin Rogers leads the charge up front. Nick Crawford 5 seconds back. Has been flirting around 6 seconds all race long.
Bringing the
battle for third is back underway as Vincent
I mean,
Sora
that's fair.
has
Did you
lost
see any cool
touch.
sights on
Chad
your way?
Wilkes and Seth Knoll. It's now just down to those 57 to the 6 as they've
Your
got
mom's
plenty of
phone
lap
number.
traffic trying to get by, as well as having their own battle with 3 laps to go. This is one of the better charges of
Dang,
the
that's,
evening. We've
that's
also got that
impressive. You
battle
got
for
a new
13th
phone number? I
place
thought you
that's
only
still
gave that
underway
out.
between Conquer, Brian McCann, and Christopher Norris. But this 6 and 57, I mean, Robert, I gotta say, it has been the best battle to watch. It's been probably the cleanest battle to watch.
Yeah.
And they just cannot get away from one another.
Yeah, and it's been like that since the drop of the
No, you're
flag.
good. I saw you out the corner of my eye.
Gracious. I mean, and it's like, whoa, hang on, baby.
In a little bit loose, giving space. Now Chad Wilkes going to be taking an opportunity to the inside.
35.80.
Seth will follow in suit, looking back from the Lucky Charms machine. You see Seth trying to fight to that inside groove where the rumble strips are. Now it's going to be going in with the
Gonna be
switchback,
2 laps to go.
side by side, going to these final
Kevin,
2
on the
corners,
last lap,
but it
you
is
like
2
slow down for at
laps
least
to
2
go
seconds,
for
so I
Gavin
can brag a
Rogers,
little bit.
7 seconds ahead over Nick Crawford. The battle for third. Who wants to talk to us the most? Will it be Seth? Will it be Chad? Or will they take each
And now we
other out
find
with
out
these
who
2
has the
laps for the
4X
both of
remaining
them?
to ship somebody.
Well, let's hope they don't take each other out, but it's a very possibility.
that would be me.
They've been racing around. We'll wait and see here, as like you said, 2 laps to go here for Galvin Rogers.
I've seen you lining me up.
3 laps so far here tonight, and has not shown
Give myself a
any weakness
penalty,
for
yeah.
road racing. So our next road race here at WSSR
That
is
would
going to
be
be
big.
what, Road America. We'll have to see if he can dominate there again too, man.
Yeah, we'll see if he's got the same pace at a more traditional racetrack that we've seen these cars at, or will it be Watkins Glen on who can stop Gavin Rogers at 75. This has been his bread and butter in any series I've watched Rogers in. He's still, I'm looking for anyone that
I
can
thought you were
tackle
giving it
the
up.
speed that he has. As this battling for third place, Chad Wilkes going to go to the inside, trying to get by 55 of Jared Kelly. Kelly will allow space for Seth to go through. And now it's about a lap and a half left for these drivers, but for Gavin Rogers, he's going around the last couple of bends.
Oh,
The
what are you doing,
75 is about to be taking
Wow,
the
I couldn't
white flag here
have it,
tonight.
dude.
What a
Get the
race
hell
for
out of
Gavin
me. I
Rogers.
see you.
Just one more time around
No,
here at Austria for the Red Bull Ring.
idiot.
Gavin Rogers officially takes your white flag, presented by Freaky Fast Broadcasting. And what a run for Rogers. He continued the trend of 6 different pole sitters, but here tonight wants to be the driver that
Sorry about that,
finds
Callie,
himself
about
being
wrecking
the
your nose
first
because of that
multi-time
shit.
winner for himself as he is charging
No, I'm just
forward. Won at
goddamn
Auto
terrible
Club
on these cars.
and wanted this road course more than anything.
More than anything,
Only
and
course.
this is going to make him happy. You know, he was out sick last week with the flu or bug or whatever he had. And like you said earlier, he comes back with a vengeance and says, I am going to take the win, and I am going to get my points lead back. Basically what he's saying right now.
I watched everyone scrap for second, and it was no one even close to catch the speed of Rogers. We thought
dirt.
for a moment that it was going to be Scioli. We thought for a moment it would be Vincent Sora, but even with dirt on the track,
Oh, a lot.
nothing
That's
is
a
in
lot
the
of gravel.
way
Holy shit.
of Gavin Rogers.
Sorry about that. That was me. Compliments to the 12.
You can see all the dirt that's been brought up, the dust, the pebbles.
That whole,
the
almost
dust
all of my
up, and
incident
just
points are in that section right there
through
tonight.
as Gavin Rogers
I could not figure it out all night.
2 corners of the race. He has been wanting this win at every road course he has shown
White
up
flag.
for. He has been the winner, and he continues on the path of being the road course ringer. Gavin Rogers around the final bend, looks to the flag stand, goes a little bit wide, but who cares? It's the 75 and Gavin Rogers, a 2-time winner here for season 10.
Good win.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Rogers,
sir.
as we
Good
get
race,
back
fellas.
here. Nick Crawford's going to bring it home at third. It looks like Chad's finally going to pull away from Seth.
I have to get
That
used to
was
the
a
new
good
debris
battle
update.
all race long, but good job for our top 3 here, Sam.
It was an absolute incredible run for Chad Wilkes to be able to hold off for the 3rd place finish. He will officially take that. Gavin Rogers will take the win officially. Other drivers are still coming across the line. And on the last lap, James Scaglioli was able to get by Zach Hall for 5th place. Vincent Sora had a holding penalty. He had to yield and actually gave up 5th to James Scaglioli. So respectful move there. It looked like I don't know if that was on purpose or if it was a penalty they didn't give up for quarter cutting.
James,
But Vincent Sora will not take fifth. That goes to James Scioli with the biggest recovery of the night. But Gavin Rogers, you've been seen on screen, having his fun drifting it around this corner. This is when you know someone is technically sound with a vehicle, is when they're having fun drifting around a course where others are struggling just to race on it. He's enjoying going sideways around it.
Amen on that. You just took the words right out of my mouth. He's slingshotting this thing around, and look at him. I mean, you can tell he has.
I was half expecting you to like go far right on that to get that run.
Every little bit out. There's something there, why not use it? Gavin Rogers, what a machine.
Good race. Yeah. If you got me before going into turn one, I saw you and I was like, yeah, now I'm going to go wipe that shit.
5 different winners. Gavin Rogers will continue to streak at least the pole sitters. 6 different races, 6 different pole sitters.
I think I broke too hard.
We'll let
Good win.
Rogers burn it down when we come back. We will talk to our top
All right.
3.
Let's go look at results real quick.
And we'll see if there's a spotlight driver.
Congrats to Gavin on the win, Nick on P2, and Chad for rounding out the podium spots. We finished 18th inside our goal of top 20. Stitz was so far behind we couldn't hear him, but he was all the way back in 19th. And Medlin runs up 27th. And Wade, there's no telling where Wade is. Let me know if you have a wild Wade sighting. But anyway, y'all got anything to say before we head this up?
Limits on this X's. Not a big fan.
Nada.
Okay. What was that, Stitz?
Next time I'm punting the 15.
Send it. So, all right. Well, that will do it from here. Thanks for watching.